wholeness. Thank you for tuning in to the productions on the Brooks. And this is where we are. We're on the Brooks of Austin, Texas, and we are creating a production. And this is, a continuation of our conversations through our podcast. And we have come to a space to open for conversation, to gauge on a deeper level of what we're experiencing.
Correct, yeah. And wholeness to everyone. And it's great to be here and just to connect with the practicing. The conversation's a practice, communication practice, and I feel like I need to bust out some bicep curls in the sense of communicating my deep truth just authentically and unapologetically, because this is who I am, and this is what I'm gauging my life and my experiences with. And so really grateful for all that has come together to cultivate the space for us all to be here right now. And
it doesn't necessarily, I hear where you're coming from with the bicep curls. And I hear that, and on another emphasis of that same relation, it's also a time to really center, and a time to engage in full appreciation and stillness. It's a time to stop the world. And from that place, it's climbing to the mountain peak. From that place we can see. So, we're all on a journey within ourselves, on the interior and exterior realms. We're at a crux of our reference point. We're forming a constellation of energetic potential, energetic signatures that are further expressing and coming to fruition in beautiful ways. Lots of retreat, eco retreat centers, eco villages, communities, all of these ways of maximizing the communication, maximizing and developing the communication we're able to conduct, and the amount of energy we're able to ground through our vessel as we cross paths in orbit with all that we are moving through. And so there are many, this is something that is automatically, just like cymatics, we're guided towards finding this vibration within ourselves through travel, through traveling for health. A lot is able to be moved in that space.
Correct, yeah, and you're hitting it spot on with what the trigger is for me, and that is in the realm of, where do I go for help? Where do I go for my health? Where do I go that I'm seeing and feeling, and all the communications I'm receiving from the practitioner is true and in integrity with the greater being of nature. That there is no division, there's no separation. So within that there is this beautiful unity, and that empowering the next one, to empowering another, so that their vitality is just exponentially here and present and available. The cup spilleth over, and this is where I feel in the space of very capitalistic, consumeristic, linear culture, material-oriented culture and thought, it's just not congruent a lot of the times with Like how is healing and healthcare sustainable in the space of the USA? How sustainable is it, and where's the trust? Because the people see that, what's going on, and a lot of the times, even though they have the correct knowledge and appropriate orientation with the matters of their health and healthcare, they see that they're in a trap with what's been given to the people, and just continue with it for some reason, like it's some kind of like a monster that people don't want to wrestle with. It's just, that's just touching so much, like, this is where the trauma sensitive nature of this conversation has to be brought forward, because we're all looking for, like, we're seeking our way, we're seeking our own way. There is no one way. There is a way, and it shows up uniquely for each unique being. So it's just water returning to the source. It's flowing in its stream and its current.
Yeah, wow. You bring up a lot there in those points. A lot. I guess, like, there are many things I feel that I want to say and that I want to address that was just said. Again, I want to emphasize that was a lot. Like, that's a deep progression, Yeah,
and can I just share something for just on the basis of my own sovereignty with this? Communicating is a very deep, soulful thing for me to do. It's incredible, and it's very intertwined with my purpose for being here. So, with that being said, I just want to share and take advantage of this space, more or less. Not necessarily take advantage of it in the terms that I'm going to take anything from anybody, but like I want to share something powerfully that is important to me, which is my email address. If there's any of this conversation resonates with you, I want to hear what is there for you. I want, like, how is this, I'm looking deeper under the scenes here, and quite frankly, there's not many, based upon the statistics of what's going on in the environment I'm in currently, there's not like a environment of like deep culture. It's very superficial culture. I feel that I'm kind of immersed around here specifically. Now, I have relation to being in, say, Costa Rica and Panama and exploring around in the nooks and crannies there, and also Thailand. So I've experienced a different way of being, a different way of culture, seeing families very in a different perspective, and even neighbors and the community at large. So, seeing these other perspectives and things that appear to be very sustainable, have a sense of longevity, quality of life to them. There's heart there, there's soul there. That I'm what's coming to surface right now is a memory of being like invited right into a native Costa Rican family's establishment, like estate basically. And my Western U.S. eyes and filter at first got in the way of me truly seeing what I just fell into, like what I was invited into. And it was a space that I was cultivating for a while. I knew, it existed somewhere in this like material realm, and I do have this story, whether it's true or not, that I tell myself that life is more real and more sustainable and more healthy for my full entirety of well-being outside of the space of the country that I was born in here. And it's not necessarily to say that the United States of America and the land and what's happening within the land is good or bad or right or wrong or anything of the dualistic nature. It's more about this wanting to be immersed in nature, in natural ways of being, in natural rhythms, in a place where if you have to go to the bathroom, you just like go, and there's no question there. You're just going, you got to go to the bathroom. Here, it's okay, your body is saying it needs to go to the bathroom. Okay, well, I need to raise my hand. Like, I have these chains on that I have to ask someone to, can I take my chains off so I can go, like, purify my system, my bodily temple, so, like, these are some things to, like, really take into consideration with, like, wow, if I'm harmonizing with these environments, at what length do I want to really, like, merge with them? And for me, once again, this is where I just see the jungle. I see the Costa Rican jungle. I see the Costa Rican beach lions just minutes really away from any space that you find yourself in Costa Rica. And it's just full beauty immersion. And the healing of that is transformative.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So it does show here. We're at 4:35 p.m. We do have a room, a space scheduled and reserved at the library that we would like to utilize. So we have about...
There were some things that...
20 minutes. I just want to say a 20-minute warning here.
Cool. That sounds like a good amount of time. I'm grateful for this space once again. And thank you for all that you just shared. And yeah, absolutely. I think that, I'm right here too, for me, it's raising the question of what is security? What is it to be safe? What does that mean? Because I would say I was going through a huge part of my awakening process, essentially, in Costa Rica. And at some point, I decided that it would be smarter, easier, and essentially faster to expedite myself to the United States of America, and then to go from there. And I had some sort of idea that I would be able to harmonize with a place to get a short-term job to make the money that I needed so that I could continue with my path of how I was living, which was to return to Costa Rica. I had no intention of really staying outside of that lifestyle, and I haven't for the last 2 years or so now. What is it? Yeah, like almost 2 years. But it isn't as easy out here. I mean, it never is easy. It's always what it is. But there's more of a delay in the way that if we're speaking of in terms of our energetic systems, it seems like here the orbits take longer to circulate, and so that goes for many things. But it makes it so that I feel that there's a delay on experiencing the reality, whereas in the space of Costa Rica, it's more, it's faster, it's instantaneous. The nature makes it that way. Being surrounded in such a, I want to say like watery, it's water-like, the field of energetics. And it's electric even. And like concrete and fillers in, all sorts of foods. It's the same thing that it's doing to the body system and the earth, the plane of which we exist on, because we're one and the same with what we're observing. We are exemplifying the plane that we are taking in, radiating it out of through our body, through that dimension of the body, the physical. So, in the Taoist philosophy, there's 3 types of main energies. So there's Xian, which is in the middle of the brain. There's Qi, which is the lower dantian in that lower abdomen. And there's Jing, which is known as the sexual energy or the body energy in general. So if you think about these, and that's located in the reproductive organs and the lowest part of the abdomen. The root, basically. But if you think about this, they're kind of like sheaths. There's the most dense energy, which is the sexual energy, which is with the body in general, because we're all on our bodies are all on the same plane of existence. And then you've got the Qi, which is the energetic potential that which can be grounded into that physical body, the voltage. And then you've got Xian, which is what comes from, it's in the center of the brain, so it's more about the centering of the mind, it feels like, and conducting that into nothingness, which is the absence of thought. So it's really not only just the absence of thought, but the return to source is what it really is doing. And so in the Taoist yogic path, it's that, so in the order of the energies it goes, first nothingness creates Xian. Xian is transmuted into Qi. Qi is transmuted into Jing. And then that radiates out into this physical plane. Or in the Taoist yogic path, it's done in the reverse through meditation. So then that means translating the Jing energy into the Qi, and from there the Qi into the Xian, and then the Xian into nothingness again. So that's the purpose. It's creating the other half of the cycle, of which energy is flowing through the body. So if you can imagine, this would create it so that you can do things forward and backwards. Your body can do the process forwards and backwards. It's a full bicep curl, so to say. And it creates a very healthy, energetic field and body and way of perceiving on this physical dimension, being the lowest one.
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing that in. I want to further note kind of like what I feel catalyzed that motion, which was safety and security. What is security, I believe, is what you asked. And this is a great question. Because, okay, so here it is. So we intrinsically are ever present in the state of wholeness and divine balance with all elements at play. And it's like, okay, well, like, you're really wanting something, and there's, you say, calm down, like, we have everything we need right here. And it's like, yes and no. So it's kind of a paradox of that, I feel, because communication, like, the word has to be brought, and then action to fulfill upon the word that was given. And once the full creative abilities and creative tools are fully applicated, then yes, we have insert abundance here, like, yet that's where I feel that for me, I'm really feeling there needs to be a sense of being able to communicate as direct as possible. And within that, also being aware that we're working collectively with the environment and with the creator, the collective being. There's many unique frameworks of of message. What I'm really getting at is, I've been wanting to really, and have been steeping and cultivating my message, so that it doesn't, whenever I intend to share something that has been of incredible value for me and my way of being and my knowing myself, I'm losing my train of thought with this.
It's that you're trying to be as direct as possible.
Correct.
Or
right.
You're in an active meditation of being as direct as possible.
Correct. Yeah. And like, as direct as possible. Like, what does that even mean? Because, I feel I have this story that I tell myself and live into as what I'm seeing currently, that if I communicate unapologetically what is there for me, that basically there won't be enough for me if I truly show up here powerfully. Hey, this is how I feel about this. That it's like, it's just stepping right into some really massive conflict, and quite frankly, it's stepping right into warfare, and just holding your ground and saying, I'm here as the messenger, and what happens, it is what it is. And really, like, standing in one's sovereignty, because I feel a lot of, if people are empowered and truly in a regenerative state, the byproduct would, in a matter of time, if not even quantum time, to become one with sovereignty, to live out the entirety of what it means to be sovereign.
Ooh, all right. So, we're just taking it another step deeper. So,
yeah. I'm noting we're at 4:47 p.m. here, and I wouldn't be opposed to saying a 3-minute warning, go to 4:50, and then we can head to our reserve room at the library at 5.
Well, hold on. I think there's something that wants to come through here.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
I'll hear this out. I would love to hear what's there.
Cool. So, when I hear your statement, your earlier statement of initiating the active meditation of being direct as possible, I envision the throwing of arrows into a cloud. And, they're two different planes. Because, like I said, the physical body, the densest plane, the most tangibly created vibrations are what we pick up on with our body, if we're in touch with it even. And that's the throwing of the arrow, of the directness. And so, what I'm tracing is that, we are what we are in every moment. So that never ceased to exist. The sovereignty is already each of ours. We have all been given that gift in existence, and it's there as an innate knowing.
Well, we gave that to us. We're giving it to ourselves in a sense.
Yes, we've granted that to our. It's what is equilibrium.
Our natural being is
right.
sovereign.
Exactly. And everything in existence wants that to occur because it's truly equilibrium. Where it's not occurring, it's kind of under war with itself. It could be maybe trying to fight an antivirus or something something's happening where the mass isn't really sure what's going on. It's just kind of fluctuating sporadically because it's all trying to come into a state of equilibrium to remain, to retain the wholeness, to acknowledge, so that the self-actualization can occur, and then everyone can be like, oh hey, look at this, we are all here to acknowledge that we're whole. That's it. That's all this is. It's just an acknowledgement because we're all whole.
And what do we do with all this? What do we do with all this abundance?
Right, and that's the true nature of the existence that we're in. That's the true state. The thing is there's a progression where this state needs to occur. It's kind of like a garden. You need to till the soils first and cultivate that so that when you plant the seeds, they can come up and have the nutrients they need, and then it goes from there. It now transitions into needing water, and just like that, the same as our bodily temples. We need to make sure we have a sense of foundation, a good place that we're receiving sleep, where we can retreat, or not retreat, but I guess retreat into the astral plane, then to come and make our special appearance here once again. That's a big part, that foundation, having a sacred space to really dock the body, the temple.
Yes.
So through that, then we get on to needing our needs to be met for longevity, food, sustainability, nutrition, and then from there, then it kind of branches out further, and then it branches out further, and then it's to a place of self-actualization where it's wow, I don't even have to do anything because I'm just observing and seeing how this whole ecosystem is taking hold of this bigger flow of energy, that it's now I'm a conduit, I see, and that's all. So this is probably where once we could recall being in that state. It's the natural state. I remember when I was younger, I used to get sick sometimes, and during the night, it would be an incredible challenge to stay asleep. But it's because I was so present in my body. And I guess like from that, I got to a place where I would just let go, and then receive the healing that there was in that lesson, what it was on a deeper level. And when I would receive that peace, it would be just like knowing that I'm whole, and just like everything would fall away. My routine, like any sort of things I was contracted to, like a job or like school, I would just let it go. Like anything that I felt that was trying to disrupt my process of healing, I was only able to receive fully to heal when I let go of these things that when I analyze them, they seem to be my attachments for security. So there's something here with security and well-being. They seem to be grouped together. But what I'm seeing is security is actually disrupting the process of healing.
Correct. I'm seeing into there. I see visuals of like antibiotics for the immune system.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like, if security blocks the true healing, it's like bypassing the true healing that is attempting to like be processed. Mm-hmm. And actualized. Mm-hmm. It's like the antibiotics, like taking the antibiotics, because it's like I will feel more secure. Like at least that's the mainstream thought. I will feel more secure if I take these antibiotics.
Wow.
Because my divine instrument that also has a nervous system on it, like, isn't whole, like, to take on the world at large today.
You know what that's like? What I just had a visual of is like a war, actually, like a physical war. Like there's one side and then the other side coming together. They're battling, physically battling. People are like dying. Other people are like injuring. Everyone's in fight or flight. And then all of a sudden, for there to be just a wind that just breaks it all apart, and like where everyone's in that like. But they never learned their lessons that even caused that to occur. So in some sense, it kind of maybe would leave them kind of confused, like disoriented. All of nature is built with incredible intelligence. And that intelligence is something that shapeshifts. It's a shape-shifting, like moving on a frequency like cymatics. Is that how you say that word? Cymatics.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it moves it in a certain way that can't really be traced. It's almost like random, but it's not random. It has a intelligence to it. It's like, bacteria is probably it's a great exemplifier of the intelligence of nature. And same with mycelium, mushroom mycelium, and different kinds of algae, different kinds of spores, ferns, like the way that nature populates itself and thrives and moves forward and, creates a space for itself. That's basically what I'm seeing it is. It creates a space for itself. And that's a process at which I feel in this life, for how I was raised and brought into being, I never had that sort of blueprint given to me. But it's the one thing that was left out, is the integration of what ecology, what ecosystems, what culture, what that even is, what it means for the human body and the human relations to this life force energy coming through everything. It's a relative point.
Wow. Well, given thanks, I want to wrap this up here, and that was an amazing conversation. I
Absolutely.
I truly appreciate the sacred space as always, and I want to wrap it up here in about 5 seconds. So wholeness and balanced vibrations to everyone.
Wholeness.